the It lasted 4 days in Korea and I'm already back home. Some context to the video I just posted. We were on our way to Busan. It's about 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. We're waiting in line. And one of the girls that I was with gets badly shoulder barged where she literally ends up in my chest. And I was like, oh my God. And this guy just walks past and shoulder barges her. And then he carries on to the next line. He's just eyeing death staring us. Anyways, we were doing our thing and whatnot. We're trying to work out tickets to head. It took about a 4-hour train ride. And we just kept getting death stared the whole time. We were like, what's wrong with this guy? Anyway, the actual people in the country were really good to my sister and I because we're not scarved. However, the scarved girls were not treated the same as us whatsoever. In some stores, they were actually getting kicked out. So they would like enter the store and the people just like, go, get out. And they'll try like kick them out. And just very racist comments, remarks. They're pro-Israel, by the way. We would be in Ubers and the Uber drivers would be putting up, like they'll translate things about Islam and Muslims and just how we're wrong and they're right. And it's a heavily Christian country. And we were trying to say that we believe in Jesus too. And they were just like, being really racist. It was horrible. Anyway, more so to the scarved girls than us, because obviously you can't tell what we are. Anyway, so at the train station, this guy would not stop death staring us, and then at the end he got his ticket. As soon as he got his ticket, all he needed to do was turn right and head to where the trains were. Instead, he comes directly to our face and starts attacking and abusing us verbally. Anyways, so then we're obviously like, we don't understand. He's speaking in Korean and we're responding back in English, and he just kept going and attacking and verbally abusing us. Obviously we don't know what the hell he's saying. And then we came really close, so we went back to the lady and said, can you help us, like can you call security? And she can see what he's doing, and then I don't know, after however long of him attacking us, she calls security comes and they do jackal, which you can see in the video, like they just move him away slightly, and then he just kept coming back at us. And then until he came to actually physically harass us. And he tries to hit 2 of the girls. Now, you have to understand, there's 6 females here on this trip. And we have been targeted. Anytime we'd be in a group, we would be so, like, we felt so, like, just so out of place. I, hands down, will never recommend Korea. I will never go back to Korea. I hate the country. And the people were so rude, so racist. I wonder how my experience would be if I wasn't with someone that was scarfed. And not just that, I don't know if it got worse after October 7th or October 8th, whatever date it was. But, oh my God, what an experience. So for people commenting on Mariam's video saying some background story or there's more to this, no, there's not more to it. We're 6 young girls. What could we possibly be doing to this older man? It was majority of the elder generation that were attacking us. Like even women were kicking us out of their shops when we'd be in groups. People giving us dirties, old men screaming at us when we were walking past in the group. And what could we possibly be doing wrong? So anyone saying background story and blah, 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 you don't need a background story. Like we were literally in a line getting attacked. We were in shops getting attacked. They were not happy that there was 4 veiled women standing there or anywhere and they would see us and yeah, they were just racist and that's all it was. The background story is Koreans are so racist and I do not recommend. If you are going to go, no thank you. If you are going to go, you go with a man, and if you're that desperate, like it's skincare, seriously, it's so overrated. Like TikTok overhypes everything and whatever. But anyway, yeah, you get it.
I always kind of knew that the toilet situation in Korea was not that great because the pipes are so old, so most toilets you can't flush the toilet paper, but I never imagined what it would be like to have that in a university. So I'm actually going to university now. I'm going to a language school at a university in Korea, and you guys, because there are so many students on each floor, right? You cannot imagine the women's bathroom. They have these huge bins next to the toilet and they don't have lids on them. They don't have lids on them, guys, which means that they overflow very quickly. And because we're women, we have periods. So there's like a lot of toilet paper with blood and also poo because we're humans, and it's overflowing. And I don't know why, but my university just does not have that many cleaners and they don't get emptied that regularly. I'm there for like 4 hours out of every time and they don't get emptied during that period. And It's bad. The smell is so bad, but just having to look at that every time, like, I just did not think that it would be like that. It's so gross, you guys.
What's going on here?
Do you want to see Korean men? I'll show you. Bye.
We've been catfished. It's very disturbing.
Guys, I'm back with another living in China versus living in Korea video. Recently, I've been seeing a lot of posts on TikTok of creators making posts about leaving South Korea, saying that they have outgrown South Korea. And this is something that even when I stayed there, that people generally don't stay too long in South Korea. Yes, there are a good number of people that's been there for a good 6, 7, 8, even 10 years. There's people who, a very small number of people who have started families there, but nothing in comparison to China. When people move to Korea, they generally typically stay 1, 2, or 3 years. And after 3 years, they generally start to feel like, I've outgrown this place, I'm not growing, I'm not developing. Also, with the money that people generally earn in South Korea, there's really only so much that you can do. Whereas China, on the other hand, the people I've met here have been here for so long. I've met people that have been here 3 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years, 20 years. I know so many people that have whole families here, people that met other foreigners here, not Chinese people, other foreigners, South Africans that met another South African, they got married, they ended up having all their babies here. I know families who had 1, 2, even 3 kids here, and they've been here for years. And that is something that you typically don't see in South Korea. South Korea is also generally only a vibe if you're young. Once you reach that like 32, 33 year age mark, you sort of outgrow a lot of the things that were fun when you arrived, and you start like looking at the bigger picture, which is building a life, starting a family, looking at your savings and your retirement and all of those things. And that's when life in Korea starts looking a bit like, it's not like your job, there's only so much you can do with being an ESL teacher. Most people go over and they spend years there. I know people that's been there 10 years, and all you will ever be is an ESL teacher. I have been here in China for just under 2 years, and I've already been promoted to a coordinator's position. So like, there is so much room for growth here. I know of people that came in as just a homeroom teacher, they ended up being coordinators, they ended up being deputy principals, they even principals. So like, there is so much room for growth and development within your career as a teacher as well here in China, which you simply just won't find in South Korea. And then people who do typically plan to build a future in Korea, they have to leave teaching, eventually go into another field, such as entertainment or content creation, and that's not something that's actually cut out for everyone. So if you're still busy deciding between the two, I hope this video helps, and I will see you guys soon. Bye bye.
Okay, let's chat about the differences between teaching in South Korea versus China. Now, obviously, this is based on my personal experience. Personally, I had very different experiences teaching in China versus South Korea, but I did teach at completely different schools. In South Korea, I taught at a Hagwon, which is a private English academy, but in China, I teach at an international Chinese school. Now, how this differs is that at a Hagwon, they're forced to speak English constantly and all their lessons are in English. Whereas at the international school in China, it's still a Chinese school and all of their subjects are in Chinese except for English. So English is a second language. Also, class size in South Korea, I had 12 students, and here in China, I have 30 students per class, and I teach 2 different classes. However, the hours in South Korea were crazy. I worked from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays, I ended at 6:40 p.m. And I only had a 30-minute lunch break. Whereas in China, my hours are 8:45 to 4:40, and I have a 2-hour, 15-minute lunch break. Then in South Korea, I taught 9 to 10 lessons per day. Whereas in China, I teach on average 3 or 4 lessons per day. About 18 lessons per week. In Korea, I was doing like 63 lessons per week. So the workload was a lot more intense in South Korea than in China, from my experience anyways. And I know a lot of people have agreed with me, like people that have also taught in South Korea and China. In salary-wise, to be honest, China does pay a lot more than South Korea when it comes to ESL teaching. And the cost of living is a lot more affordable in China compared to South Korea, so the saving potential is a lot greater. Otherwise, teaching-wise, you know, it's pretty similar in the classroom. Like, they give you your curriculum, you follow the curriculum, and like, if you want to add to the PowerPoints, you can. And then with regards to co-teaching, I experienced this in both South Korea and China, where you are the foreign teacher and you have a local Chinese or Korean teacher helping you, and you guys teach together. To be honest, in Korea, the co-teaching wasn't really there. Like, our co-teacher wasn't in the classroom a lot of the time, but we only had 12 students, so we could handle them on our own, and they did speak pretty much fluent English. But yeah, that's basically the very basics about it. If anyone has any more specific questions, let me know.
The maximum salary you will earn as an English teacher in South Korea is the minimum salary you will earn as an English teacher in China. Because I live in both South Korea and in China, people are always asking me which is the better country. And in my opinion, China and South Korea are both excellent countries to live in. I cannot fault either. But if we're looking at just a salary point of view, China comes out right on top of that, unfortunately. The maximum salary you can earn in South Korea is the minimum salary that you will get as an ESL teacher here in China. Let me show you. So here I have a comparison between the maximum salary you can earn as an ESL teacher in South Korea versus the maximum salary you can earn as an ESL teacher here in China. The amount of China is approximate because it can be a little bit more, can be a little bit less. But if you compare the two totals, you notice China is basically double of what you can earn in South Korea. And also keep in mind that the cost of living is also significantly lower in China than what it is in South Korea. There has been no change in the salary system for ESL teachers in South Korea for the longest time, in possibly 10 years. When I lived in South Korea, when I started in South Korea in 2016, which is 9 years ago, I was earning 2.7 million won. If I was still in Korea at this point, I would probably still be earning the same, if not less, which is not a good look, to be honest.
As a Chinese girl, I spent my entire life hearing people say, you are too pretty to be Chinese, which is not a compliment, by the way. In the past month, I've had a couple of experiences with people asking me where I'm from in terms of, am I Korean, am I Japanese, am I half Asian, half white? And during these encounters, every time I tell them I'm Chinese, they have like a shocked look on their face. And I'm like, and as I grow up, it makes me sadder and sadder to see the propaganda that the Western media and the Western world kind of has against Chinese people and China in general. Like, as someone who has traveled to China with my family many a times, China is amazing. Like, I would move there in a heartbeat, honestly. It's way past the Western world in terms of technology, innovation, just like lifestyle. I digress. It just like really angers me that, I don't know, I feel like a lot of Chinese girls probably have this experience as well. And no, I do not need people to think that Chinese people are attractive, but I just don't like how the connotation with Chinese people is always so negative. Like, xenophobia definitely does exist, unfortunately. It makes me so sad. You definitely look Chinese. Yeah, I definitely think I look Chinese and I'm proud of looking Chinese, but I think you missed the point here. The point was saying anyone is too pretty to be XYZ, doesn't matter what ethnicity, is not okay. Psychologically, that makes you feel like what you are is inferior. And being completely honest with you, I grew up in Toronto, and growing up, I always wanted to be Caucasian. And now that the Western world is more accepting of Japanese and Korean people, I feel like a lot of girls growing up who are Chinese probably are made to think or want to be Korean or Japanese instead. Thankfully, now I completely see through the Western propaganda against Chinese people, and I'm so proud to be Chinese and look Chinese. But it is so unfortunate that comments like this still happen and people are made to feel like they're less than, and made to feel like they should not be proud of where they come from and their ethnicity. If you're a Chinese girl growing up right now, just know that you are stunning. You come from an amazing cultural heritage, and whatever this media tells you, please.
Oh wow, these look good.
The meat or vegetarian?
Meat, please.
Okay.
이거 얼마요? 얼마요? 얼마요?
안 매워요.
No, how much? How much?
5,000.
Okay, 5,000. Got lots of different things here. We've got gimbap, we've got tteokbokki, fish cake over there. 감사합니다.
네, 감사합니다.
Okay, I'm here in Busan with some dumplings. These have been lightly fried on the grill. 5,000 for 5, which means they're 75 cents each. That's what it's like inside. Severely lacking in flavour, unfortunately. The outside of these are really rubbery. No, I'm not a fan of these. The outside of this dumpling is so hard. I think that has been sitting out. I think that has been sitting out at the front of the stall for the last hour, and that has been put back on the griddle to crispen it up, but unfortunately it's gone to rubber. These are not good at all. In there we've got some spring onion, some white onion, some pork, but lacking in flavour and rubbery outside. Very disappointing, and I'm rating these dumplings here in Busan 2 out of 10.